I had my first granddaughter about 2 months ago, and I haven't gotten to see her yet. And it's not because of my relationship with my daughter, and it's not because there's any problems, because I feel like I've been liberated. It's kind of been because of money, and that's an issue. But my kids and I have 4 other kids that are still at home. We got kicked out of our house about a month ago because, well, my ex-husband quit paying bills, and that's a thing. Whew. But it's been the most liberating experience, and I have wanted to share my story for a number of years, like the fullness of my story, because a lot of times we behave in crazy ways, and it looks crazy on the outside, but with context, everything makes sense. And we do things for reasons, and it doesn't make some of the things we do okay, but it does make it understandable. And life is complicated, and there's no shame in survival. Sometimes we have to do really difficult things in order to survive, in order to make it. And I have been some kind of a coach for most of my life, or consultant, and I could never suggest that anyone do the things that I've done, because when you find your internal guidance system, nothing else seems to matter. You just follow you. I wanted to stories is how we change our lives. Stories of understanding and of people and the complexities of life. That's how we change. It's not through another 5 tips to overcome this thing or that thing. It's through hearing real stories. The incredibly strong women that came before me, my mother, my grandmother, and it's in those stories that our soul can rest. And you never know when you're going to be gone. Since I was 30 years old, I've been the oldest in my bloodline. And if I never get the chance to hold my granddaughter, I want her to have the story of her lineage, the story of her life, because my children know it, but they would know it through their voice. I want her to be able to hear it from my voice, because she is the 7th generation of strong woman, born of a strong woman. 7 generations of an oldest daughter having an oldest daughter. And that is something profound. I am generation 5. My oldest daughter had an oldest daughter. She's generation 6 and then 7. And that is a lineage to be proud of. And each of us have fought in our own way. My great aunt, so my grandmother's sister, kinda, I don't know, it's complicated, we'll get there. She said, "Oh, honey, we sure do have an X-rated family history." And she is right, it is wild. So hold on to your britches, here we go. So if we go back 4 generations from me, her name, my grandmother's grandmother, everybody called her Candy Grandma, but her name was Grandma Cooper, or great-great-grandma Cooper. That's crazy. She had an old house in San Jose, and she had a chocolate factory in her basement. And so my mom would tell me stories of her going to her great-grandmother's house and dipping her hand in this chocolate fountain. And it was always so fun to go to Candy Grandma's house because she had a chocolate fountain in her basement. But they hand-dipped chocolates for many years. And what was so notable about her is that in our line, there's something about women marrying like more submissive type men that were just like, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And it gave us the freedom to do more of what we wanted to be able to do. And apparently she was a chocolatier. So Candy Grandma, Grandma Cooper, she had Grandma Eva, and Grandma Eva was my Grandma Dixie's mother. So Grandma Eva, she was an evil bitch. There was something wrong with her because she was angry. All the stories from her were just like, woo, you do not mess with that woman. And I do not ever remember meeting her. I think she died right after I was born. I have an actual picture that I'll post somewhere of the 5 generations. But Grandma Eva was a realtor in San Jose. And somewhere along the way, I lost it. It was probably in the hurricane in 2017. But for many years, I had a business card of Grandma Eva, so my great-grandmother, she was a real estate agent, and she had a 4-digit phone number on there. And that was just like, whoa, so cool. Like, it was just radical to have a 4-digit phone number, because like, I grew up in the era of 7 digits, and now we're at 10. So I don't know. It's just pretty cool. But she hated housework. I think she just hated being a woman in general. My mom and grandma would tell the funniest stories, because she would apparently hide dishes in every part of the house. She would just never ever do dishes. And of course, this is long before disposables. So she would have dishes in the washer, in the dryer. She'd have them shoved inside all the cabinets, because she'd entertain a lot and she'd have people over, but she hated to do housework. And she was married to Grandpa Staff, and Grandpa Staff I knew and loved, and he died, oh heck, I must have been about 10 or 12 years old when he died. And so I had been in that house many times, and I remember the old wool carpet, and they had so many beautiful fruit trees in the backyard, avocados and every kind of citrus you could imagine, and pomegranates, and it was the coolest backyard ever. And just this cute little house. But Grandma Eva, she was quite a handful. And she had my grandmother, Grandma Dixie, and I don't know what happened, because my Aunt Laretha, my great Aunt Laretha, who told me we had an X-rated family history, I don't know the bloodline and how it works, but she wasn't actually my aunt. She was someone else's. I know someone got pregnant with her in 1932 at the World Trades Fair, and it was by a married doctor, and she wasn't supposed to be, so she was given to Grandma Eva to be raised as my grandmother's sister. And those two got in a lot of trouble together. But Aunt Laretha, she would tell the wildest stories, her and her husband both. They were some ornery fellow. He was an ornery fellow. Like, whoa, stories that are just like, make you cry and laugh and be like, how did any of us survive? Like, how did he make it? Aunt Laretha, she died after having cancer. She died with her 10th cancer round. She would get healthy. Oh my God, she was so funny. They would spend all their time at the casino. So she was eating at buffets and gambling all the time, and just loving life. All the shitty food would make her sick. She'd get cancer. Then she'd go on a hardcore health diet, like really change her entire lifestyle, do it. She'd cure her own cancer, her and Uncle Don. And then as soon as she was better and got a clean bill of health, she'd go back and do it again. And by the 10th time, she was just like, fuck this. She's like, I'm not doing this again. The cancer can take me this time. But she would tell the craziest stories. One of them was her and Grandma Dixie. They snuck into an X-rated movie theater when they were teenagers, but my grandmother had one of those big jugs of wine, and she shoved it under her dress to make it look like she was pregnant. And so they got drunk in a porn movie at teenagers in a movie theater. And I just like imagining your grandma doing that. And I guess that's how my granddaughter will feel watching this series, in a decade or so. But it was just a funny thing to think about, my grandmother being so rebellious. And she actually died. We'll get to that story too. She died when I was 14. But she was just a hoot. When I did my DNA at one point, and when I did it, I got some really crazy stuff back on my grandma, and that's going to have to come in the next video.